The views expressed in this podcast, Champ and Tramp, belong to the host and guest, not the Champ and Tramp podcast itself. It's intended for entertainment information, so please use discretion. We're not responsible for any outcomes resulting from the content discussed.
I just want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors over at MuscleMeds. We've been taking their products for years now, and I can honestly say these guys deliver.
Yes, specifically carnivore and steptropin for me. The carnivore line really takes the bloating and stomach discomfort away, which is huge for me, especially when I'm training on the mat. And steptropin to speed up recovery for years of battling in the ring. I can honestly say I feel at my best again.
Yeah, man, I take their Nitro Lift before every workout, and it's got me stronger than ever. But of course, you know I got to crush a carnivore RTD after. Hands down, the best protein on the market.
Roger that. These products actually work. If any of you guys are looking for a brand you can trust, look, you got to check out MuscleMeds.
Real show, here we go. Real show, here we go. You know that it's gotta be that time, so this is what we chant. What keeps on getting them all amped in advance? Come on. You and I rocking out with Iron Man, F.E. You get the general's point of view on top of Roger's rants. Whenever tapping out, we're putting the most minutes in. You already know what that's about, you know that winners win. Crush whatever's on task, check the podcast. It's the champ and the tramp, let the bomb blast.
What's up, guys? We got another good one for you tonight. We have another New Jersey native in the house, Blake Rossell, host of the Big Man's podcast. Originally from AC, now living in Philly, but still a Jersey guy. You record out of Jersey, right?
Yeah, still record. First of all, I want to thank you guys for having me on. This is a pleasure to be here and looking forward to a good show. I grew up in the South Jersey area, Atlantic City area, but specifically Moorgate. Okay. And I moved to Philly for some work I'm doing up there. Outside of my podcast business, I actually I'm a teacher in the middle schools, phys ed and health.
Okay,
because I was a college basketball player and I coached for many years, and that kind of led to me going into the school system. So I ended up landing a job up in Philly after a few years, and I'm up there living down by the stadiums down there, the Eagles, the Philadelphia Phillies, and I know up this way we have a little bit more of what New York fans, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I'm from Maine, so I'm not very popular. I grew up in Maine, so I'm a Patriots fan.
He doesn't watch sports.
Log rolling and fly fishing is what we're into.
Whatever the whitest sport is, that's what they're into in Maine.
Up in Maine?
Maine's the whitest state in America, I think.
Is it?
I've never been up to Maine.
I don't know about that. You think it is?
I think it's top 5, 100%.
It probably
top
five.
One of the whitest states.
Definitely top 5.
They got no soul down there or up there.
Yeah, so it's funny you mentioned that, right? Working, Frankie still, even though he fought 17 years in the UFC, he's still got a regular job, pretty much, not your typical. I'm a union guy, been there for 27 years. I think a lot of people have this misconception. You have a podcast, that's what you do. That's your mainstay. It's totally not the case. I mean,
not yet, at least.
Yeah, not yet. Not yet.
It's a process. It's a lot of work.
Yep.
People who don't have one, they don't really understand.
They don't get it.
The grind behind it.
There is
a
grind,
lot of
man.
work.
Yeah.
And you guys know well.
But I think, I heard you say this. I watched a little bit of some of your episodes, some of your Instagram stuff, and I heard you say this: consistency is everything.
Yeah.
I got to say that we're very consistent, man. We never miss. We literally never miss a week. So, I think for in anything in life, you want to be good. You got to show up, right?
Absolutely.
Showing up is a big part of the game.
Yeah, I mean, I actually started as a radio show about 4 years ago now. I was on the radio down in South Jersey. I was on a station called 94.3 WOND. It was AM radio, then it went to FM radio. And basically I had kind of the same format as I have now, where I have guests on. People tell me their story about, how they kind of got into their career, what their upbringing, what their childhood was like. And I kind of had that same format, except it was on radio.
Yep.
But I love the podcast world, so I'm like, I got to kind of make this into a podcast somehow.
Yeah.
And then I took a year off last year actually from it, and going back to the consistency thing. I was doing it strong for 3 years, and then I kind of, life changes, moving, things happen in life, and I kind of took a step away from it for a while.
Okay.
And I just recently got back into it, months ago, and now I'm full podcast platform.
Yeah.
With a new studio. I've been hitting the ground running, getting guests on, making a lot of networking calls and stuff like that.
Well, sorry, go ahead, Frank.
No, I'm saying podcast I think is great just as opposed to radio, because, radio, you don't listen, you miss it. You know what I mean? Podcast, you can catch a podcast anytime.
You're right, yeah.
I think so many people now, turn to podcasts for news, entertainment. You know what I mean? It's kind of a mainstay now. I mean, the news is almost dead these days because so many people tune into their favorite, like Joe Rogan. I mean, he has so many different people on from the political scene, and I think a lot of people get their news from podcasts.
Bro, I was a big podcast. I used to drive a lot when I was training. I don't drive as much now. My school is 5 minutes away, so I used to drive all the time, and I would listen to podcasts. That's what I did. Instead of listening to radio, I listen to podcasts. But now that I really don't drive much,
you don't get as much.
I work out to podcasts now.
Yeah,
I used to not be able to do that, but now I can't just sit on a plane and listen to a podcast.
Right.
I need to kind of like be doing something else. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I can listen to music and not do nothing, but a podcast, I like to like do something, like drive or work or something.
Did you fly a lot more when you were fighting? You still fly.
Yeah.
You still fly a fair amount.
I fly every once in a while. I flew like once a month when I was fighting.
Yeah,
Now I'm like very seldomly now, which I like better. I fucking hate flying.
Yeah.
You don't like flying?
I mean, it's just never a great experience ever.
Well, now let's talk about it. This is where you just brought it up. Forget flying out of Newark at all.
Oh, yeah.
Until probably August. They have one. That's like one of the busiest airports in America. One runway is completely down for maintenance.
And then they're also losing like
Power.
Not power. Well, I mean communication.
Well, yeah,
Right?
Yeah,
Losing communication with the planes for like minutes at a time.
That's not. They say it's terrifying, and people are going on stress leave because they get so freaked out by not being able to communicate with these aircrafts. But it's actually something called like Tricom or something like that. It's based in the Philly area, but it communicates with Newark, and they say it's like an antiquated 50-year-old system, and they've lost power. Well, I don't know, losing power or losing the service that it provides twice now, and there's no one. The first time it was a solid minute. They could not communicate with aircraft. That's going to be pretty terrifying as an air traffic controller. You know what I mean?
I mean, that's sadly, you've seen the last couple months some of the things you hear on the news. Talk about the news. I mean, a lot of these planes were having engine malfunction, and a couple planes went down. I mean, it's horrible to hear. I mean, and people have to fly every day, for their jobs.
Right.
And so, it phases some people, and some people are like, you know what, like you can't think like that, right?
Well, was that Frankie? I think you can speak to this because I think you did speak. Was that fake news? Because remember when that was happening and you were seeing it every day? They said statistically there actually was no more crashes or accidents. There was actually lower, right?
Yeah, lower
when they were
but
reporting.
You're just seeing them more and more.
Yeah.
It depends. I don't know.
I don't know what to
believe
believe.
anything.
Yeah, I mean, half the stuff that comes out, it's just like you don't even know what you can even trust anymore.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Frankie and I are huge skeptics of almost everything you see. Like I got to see it happen right in front of me to believe it.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
That's what they want. That's
exactly.
what they want.
Exactly. So what's your mainstay for guests? Like what do you have on? I've seen you had fighters on before. I've seen you had Kellyanne Conway, for example. I didn't realize she's from like Atco area. We got to get her on this show.
Yeah, she's actually from. So to answer your question, I'll talk about Kelly real quick, and then to answer your question. So she actually grew up in the Hamilton area, like Hamilton, Atco, which is South Jersey, and at one of the schools I was working at the time, she actually attended that high school. Graduated, years ago, and there was a function that we were doing, a fundraiser at some golf course, really nice golf course or country club at the place where I do my podcast now in Haddonfield, New Jersey. She was a guest speaker for this fundraiser event, and I actually met her a couple summers prior when I was working security down in Margate, and she came into one of the nightclubs that was down there, and when she was in Trump's first administration, she came in with her security detail and all that, and I got a chance to meet her doing security. Because she actually has a summer house, I believe, down in Ventnor. I'm sure she still has that house. I haven't talked to her in a few years, but and she used to come in on the weekends once in a while. Fast forward to this event at the country club. She was our guest speaker, and I reconnected with her there. It just kind of happened where I was part of the event. It was like a suit and tie formal event kind of thing. She was the keynote speaker. When we had some time, everyone was kind of going around getting food and just kind of talking and socializing before the event. I went up to her. And I was like, hey, Kelly, how are you? Nice to see you. Do you remember me? And she said, yeah, I do. You worked security at the shore, blah, blah, blah. And we kind of just, long story short, we were talking. And I said, I do a show down here in South Jersey. I'd like to invite you on if you have the time. And she said, I would love to be on your podcast.
That's awesome.
And it was a cool, kind of an honor because, she was at the, big political figure. And even though she's not in President Trump's administration now, she's still a daily, a weekly contributor on Fox News National.
Right.
She covers for some of the anchors some nights, like Hannity and Laura Ingraham, whatever. And then she kind of, as a guest, comes on and kind of commentates.
That's cool.
3-4 days a week.
Yeah.
So it was a cool experience with her.
That's cool. It's kind of funny you say that because we've been at this podcast now for 6 years, and I think it's helped us tremendously. Speaking ability, communication. But one thing that Frankie and I do not excel at, I think you would agree with this, is and I want to hear how well you do with it, is approaching guests and asking them. Neither one of us are great at that. I always feel like I'm kind of like bugging the person, or I don't want to feel like I'm, groveling or begging, but you got to reach out. You can't have a podcast if you don't reach out. But, this guy's connected to, he was the best in the game. So he knows every fighter or knows them or has a connection to them, Dana White, and he just doesn't like reaching out to people. Neither do I. But if you have a podcast, you have to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's a great question. I kind of felt like that when I first started out. Yep. It's like you could get local, people like on your show that like that you grew up with, your friends with. Hey, you want to come on, talk about your business? You want to come on and, you want to talk about what high school sports, college sports was like. We were on the team. And that's all fun, right? It's conversation with people you know. But when you want to start expanding your podcast, like you said, you have to kind of take that step to reach out and start networking. And I kind of felt the same in the beginning. Like it was to be a long shot. Like you reach out to somebody on Instagram, like a big social media influencer or digital creator, somebody that has a large following, you're like, there's no shot they're going to get back to me, right? You send a DM, you say, hey, love your content. Would you like to be on the show? Here's what I do. Here's how I do my platform, right? And a lot of times, they'll get back to you and it's like, oh, wow, like, thank you for your response, right? And sometimes they may not see it or they may not respond right away, or they respond and then you may not hear from them for a while.
Yeah,
and,
that seems that happens a fair amount. We've been very lucky. I think we've booked the majority.
You
of
just
people
kind of do it, and
yeah.
You just kind of throw it out there, and who responds, and who doesn't. But you can't drag your head and be like, shit, man, I really wanted that interview. You just got to go on to the next one. And that's what I've learned the last couple of years. And people ask me, like, yo, that's a pretty cool guest. Or that's a big. How'd you get that guest? Yeah. And I'm like, you just networking. I reached out. Yeah. I don't have like a secret potion or a secret magical wand and say, hey, I want to put the president of the United States on my podcast tomorrow. And you guys know, you guys have been doing it a long time. It's not that easy. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me tell you about our first experience.
Absolutely.
So there's you may even know these guys because they're down by you. They're down in the Atlantic City area, and I think some of the guys are from Philly. But before we entered into the podcast world, we had a podcast, a mobile podcast that came to us. They had their own podcast set up down, your way, but they're called the Island Podcast, right?
Island Boys.
Is it Island Boys? Island Podcast.
No, Island Podcast.
No, the Island Boys are those
Island
dudes
Podcast Boys? Yeah,
no.
Island Podcast Boys.
I think it's, is it? I don't know. The Island Boys are those dudes that make out with each other.
Yeah, I know, but that's what it said.
Anyway, they came here.
Okay.
They set up their little mobile podcast, and they're just a bunch of party cool dudes. They're just funny as hell. They have this one guy that they had a falling out. I think they all fell apart now. But you should have this guy on the show. He's hysterical. Francis, dude. He does stand up comedy. He's so
driver, I think.
He's so self-deprecating. He like hates himself.
Dude, the story.
The catfish.
He got catfished.
No, they call it something else. Not catfishing. What did he call it? No, it was something else. Something other than catfish.
So somebody got him to send. He sent a bunch of pictures.
Right.
And they specially requested put his face in it.
Put your face in it. I want to see, playing, all like X-rated videos.
Yeah.
Then this guy's like, hey, he thought it was a girl. It was not a girl. She said, listen, if you don't give me this money, I'm sending these videos to every one of your contacts.
No, family.
Family, his contacts. His family. He sent it to his aunt. He's like, fuck it, I'm not paying it. So all these videos.
His mom.
His
aunt.
Oh, my God.
Bro, it is the greatest
story. But listen,
story
the best
ever.
story
That's
is
crazy.
this. It happened to his brother like 2 months before.
The same thing happened?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. And he knew about it.
You got to have this guy on. He will definitely come on. He's got his own podcast. It's called Soaring Highs and Lowest Lows or something like that.
Yeah, I'll definitely check it out.
Oh, bro, he's hysterical. Shout out to you, Francis. It was a great episode when you were on, man. He's a funny guy. Hysterically funny guy. But anyway, that was our kind of entry into the podcast world is we did their podcast. Actually, I think we did Frankie Perez's before that. Yes. I know.
I think that was after.
Was it?
Yeah, it was after.
Okay. Well, regardless. So we did a couple. We dabbled a couple, and we have a mutual friend, Chris Ligori, that just kept saying, you guys you come from totally separate worlds. You've been friends forever. You should do your own podcast. And that's how this podcast started,
That's great.
Yeah.
And you guys have been going hard ever since.
Yeah, since December 2019.
Right before COVID hit. Before COVID hit.
It's funny. Mine actually started right at COVID first hit. What was it? 2020.
2020. Yeah.
Like I started my radio show 2021. Yep. So I've been kind of doing it ever since. Yeah. And it's crazy. Yeah. I feel like a lot of people around like COVID started. I mean, as we know, went to digital stuff. Yeah. Started making videos. YouTube. The TikTok things were big. I mean, TikTok's still big.
Yeah.
But everyone's like making those personal TikTok videos and crap was going viral. And,
Yeah,
you know,
even
influencers.
comedians are doing like trying to do like comedy over Zoom, which is so wacky.
Yeah.
you know?
Well, look at the little Mo Mozzarella guy. You guys seen him on?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you know him personally or if you've ever talked to him, but he's kind of started that. The guy from New York.
Yeah.
He was on my show, I want to say, in 2022, that
Talking
summer.
about, wait, you talking about the pizza guy?
No. He's from New York.
Yeah.
He always does a "How you doing?"
Yeah.
The New York
You
guy,
remember that?
the funny
I don't know
guy.
if I know that guy, yeah.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
he's
older gentleman, a little bit older, right?
yeah, probably 40s.
Yeah.
Young kids, got a wife, and his story was he started going around to local businesses like in the Bronx, Brooklyn, like where he grew up, and he just started like, and again, when everything was shut down and business was slow, he started going to all these businesses and like kind of promoting them, say, "Hey, come by Luigi's, come by here, it's the best." And he was funny about it,
Right.
like making jokes, messing with the owner, and they would love to have him. And he got big off of that.
Yeah.
You know, I think he was a union guy as well, and in New York and working in the high rises, and then he just started doing this on the side, and it kind of took off like during the COVID era.
Yeah.
And he's been, kind of
Like
big.
like pretty much almost like a YouTuber, right? At this point, you call
Yeah,
him, right?
TikTok, YouTube,
Yeah,
Instagram.
yeah.
He's got a huge following.
Yeah.
I mean, and he's.
I know you're talking about.
I think
He does comedy now too, stand up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Little Mo Mozzarella on Instagram.
Okay. All right.
And he's a New York guy, so he's
Yeah.
not too far from here.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, we know we've had a couple guys on that dabbled in that world,
Yeah.
the YouTube world, and they worked regular. Duke Gomez, for example,
Yeah,
he worked a regular job, and then just one day he said, "I'm full sending this thing," and I think he's doing pretty well
Yeah.
with it, man.
Yeah.
I think he's doing pretty well.
Broke his leg.
Broke
See
his
that?
femur, bro.
Femur,
They say that's
on a dirt bike,
they
right?
say- his brother lost his leg on a dirt bike.
Oh, dude, that's crazy.
Remember?
You're right. Yeah.
His brother
That's
had
crazy,
such a compound fracture because they're both really good on motocross, but I think the brother was better than
Right.
Duke, if I remember Duke's story, and he lost his leg because he had such a bad wipeout. They couldn't save his leg, so they amputated his leg, and Duke just broke his femur, but I mean, he's not going to lose his leg.
I totally
but-
forgot about that.
yeah.
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 Wow.
But yeah, I think if you want to do something, you got to fully invest in it and be consistent is definitely key. So
Yeah.
yeah.
It's huge, and you see everybody like you said, we kind of said this at the start of the show. Your show, a lot of people are kind of converting to podcasts now.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's like the way. I mean, you look all over YouTube, you look all over social media. It's all real shorts. It's all podcast stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it just, and it goes viral. It goes like it spreads so quickly, like wildfire.
Oh,
Bro,
it's
look
crazy.
at this. The last presidential election, the podcast got Trump elected.
It really
in a
did.
sense.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He went on the Rogan. He went on Dale Vaughn. He went on the Flagrant. Like those were all big time podcasts.
Yeah.
We just had Spadia. You know Bill Spadia?
I heard Bill Spady.
He was He was the voice of New Jersey,
101.5
101.5
Yep.
forever.
Yep.
Oh, I
But
did
now-
see that
now
on
he's-
your page.
He's running for
Yes.
governor.
I did see that.
And he
Yeah.
came on. He's kind of
That's
sought us
awesome.
out, and now I've been in talks with Jack Chitterelli's
I remember
campaign
Jack.
manager.
Yeah.
So he may come on too. So it's kind of funny. Like we're no Joe Rogan or Theo Vaughn, obviously, but I feel like these people are like, oh, that's the new medium that people are going. Like me, if we don't do this, we might miss out. I think they have that FOMO going.
The
on.
other aspect of that, and I think obviously Kellyanne Conway, you've had a few political people on, is we never, ever, ever in a million years thought we would ever talk about, I think we got into this thinking we'd have some fighters on, maybe do some dad talk about being fathers. And
Yeah.
dude, it's hard to stay out of the political spectrum nowadays, just being a regular.
Dude, I bet,
you know what I
like,
mean?
you watch Theo Vaughn. I mean, Joe Rogan's definitely like a serious guy. But you watch Theo Vaughn and the
He's a
Flagrant.
comedian. Yeah.
They're both comedians, and dude, you watch them, and all they do is talk about fucking politics. That's
Yeah.
just, it's what affects us every day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're talking about stuff that affects us every day.
You
know?
can't get away from it. I mean, it's right in your face every day.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. I mean, Joe Rogan had on President Trump,
Yeah.
and he had on his vice president, J.D. Vance.
Right,
too. He
yeah,
had both
yeah,
of them on.
yeah.
And it's crazy.
And that might have won him that election.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
But it's just the way of the world. And you're right. Like kind of going back to what Roger, your question about my spectrum of who I interview on my show.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a wide range. I don't limit it to one industry or career. I'll talk to anybody. Like I say, athletes, business owners, restaurant owners, politicians, political figures, actors, comedians, anybody. I'll DJs if anybody has a DJ following and they DJ, all over New Jersey or Philadelphia or New York. I don't or anywhere. I just like to hear people's stories, and I think that's better for the podcast too.
Yeah.
Like like you kind of said,
The variety.
The variety.
Yeah.
You don't want to just limit yourself to one topic, one subject. You want to be open to anything.
Yeah.
Well, not only that, I don't think you have to be famous or notable in any way to have a truly interesting story. The one thing you do need is the gift to be able to speak. You have to have that ability. for example, next week we have a guy coming on that literally almost died. Like he was a lineman and he blew his face off and his hands off. He touched up.
Craziest pictures.
His story is great. He had one of the first complete face transplants, you know what I mean, in New York City, and he's coming on next week. And there's a guy that was just worked a normal job, blue collar guy, lineman, and I'm sure he's doing motivational speaking now. That's why I've been talking to him and his family for years since his accident. And now he's in a place where he's healthy enough, you know, to actually do motivational speaking. And he said, Raj, can I come on your podcast? He's like, I'll be in New York City. He's from down south. I said, of course. But there's a guy, normal guy, works a union job probably like I did, that definitely has an amazing story to tell. So they don't have to be a notable figure or to have an interesting conversation with a We're all human, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
We all have a story. So.
Yeah.
Some people are just boring. Some people are just boring, but that's you know, they also don't have the gift of gab usually. Yeah. You know.
No, I agree. I mean, like kind of what we were saying. I mean, you can interview anybody with a good story, just somebody who wants to come on, promote their business, talk about their business, or just, you know, again, like you don't want to limit yourself to anything because you never know, you know, somebody who you may, you know, you don't want to say, oh well, I only want to have you on if you have a following, or I only want to have you on if you're, you know, a notable person or you're a well-known figure. And I agree with you guys wholeheartedly about that. Yeah.
Joe Rogan had the bee lady on, for Christ's sakes. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, we're no Joe Rogan, obviously, but I mean, we have a variety of everything. We have kind of same thing. We talk to everybody.
Yeah.
But
the bee lady had like no followers, and she just had something interesting, something unique about her, and she came on. She's kind of hot too.
Was she?
Yeah, she was.
I didn't see
you didn't see that one?
No. I actually listened to it a little bit. I did.
She's the lady that doesn't put any stuff on, no protective gear at all. Will go up to any hive and just stick her hand in it, and they come. You know what I mean?
They
It's
don't
great.
bite her?
No,
she's immune to it.
No, I mean I'm sure she's probably been stung a bunch, but that's kind of how she got famous. Is just this good-looking girl that just goes
that helps.
That
helps.
Yeah, well, sure.
You know, an ugly chick with bees getting stung by bees ain't gonna be too good.
Think it helped your UFC career because your mother, you said always told you were handsome your whole life.
Listen, I am a little bit handsome.
Didn't you fight a guy? Wasn't his nickname Handsome something? Didn't you fight? Who's the guy? Oh, on the military base. You didn't
I never
fight.
fought him though.
What was his name? What was his nickname?
I don't know his nickname.
I thought it was
his name was Matt Wyman.
Oh yeah, I thought they called him Handsome Wyman or something like that.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's cool. Honestly, we our podcast, it's more for fun than anything. You know, it's not like we're paying our bills with it. But we got like you said, we got to talk to a lot of interesting people, a lot of different people.
Yeah.
We ended up in a movie because of this podcast.
Oh, really?
We ended up doing the Wim Hof breathing and the cold plunge stuff. Like, definitely got the Chuck Zito's been in here. You know, pretty cool. So it's been a fun ride. It's not really work. I get to, if we don't have a guest, I make fun of Roger for an hour. You know what I mean? And it's not so bad.
It's really just kind of a bro sesh every Tuesday. You get to hang out with your buddy. You know what I mean? And I don't know, just I would do it for free. You know what I mean? I was we kind of do almost no. We do all right, but you know, in the beginning, it costs you money. You know what I mean? Until you get a following. You know.
Yeah, I mean like with my show, how like, you know, I'll have sponsorships, like people, I'll advertise their business on my show, have a commercial made, you know, plug them at the start of my episode. Yep. I'll advertise them on my social media throughout the week, and you know, you kind of build partnerships.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that's exactly what we do.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're interested in a good protein, it's actually carnivore. It's protein from the meat itself. Yeah. The milk is for babies.
That's right.
Okay?
That's right. No lactose.
Yeah. Now, honestly, it's actually pretty good stuff
too. It is. We use our products.
Yeah.
We definitely do. But we've been lucky. We've got some really good sponsors over the years.
Yeah.
We've got a great partnership now with Carnivore. So, but again, when you own your own podcast and it's just you and you're not under you don't have a boss, you don't have somebody that you're working for. You got to get your own sponsors too. Get your own guests. Get your own sponsors. So.
Well, I just hear Rogan. You know, obviously, you can't compare us. I don't think no podcast compare to Rogan's. No. Obviously, he's the biggest and the best and all that
absolutely.
stuff. But like, I don't think it matters. You know, on who your sponsors are really. Right?
I don't know what that means. What do you mean? It doesn't matter?
I mean, it does. Like, what does it matter? What kind of sponsor you have?
I mean, I don't know. We want to sell hemorrhoid cream.
I don't know. I mean, hey, if they're paying a check, you know what I'm saying?
I guess. Go ahead. Give me an ad read for that. How would that go? Itchy asshole?
Yeah. Does it hurt when you sit down?
Yeah, it's no, definitely. I mean, sponsorships. It's good. It helps. You know.
Yeah.
And you also feel like too, like you get to give back a little bit, where you're kind of helping out a business and because it's a grind, right? It's a grind.
Yeah.
Well, that's somebody explained that to me with guests, and it kind of made it easier for me to reach out. It's like you're kind of doing them a favor. You're giving them a platform.
Yeah, right.
You're giving them.
You
know what I mean?
it goes both ways a little bit.
Yeah, for
Absolutely.
sure. So with guests, I look at it, totally through that perspective now, that spectrum that we're giving them.
Have
an
you had a
opportunity
guest ask for a fee?
Have I had a guest ask for a fee? Actually, one time when I first started out, but then every other guest after that is like complimentary, like they want to come on. And I actually just recently spoke with someone who was going to come on my show in a couple of weeks, who did say they normally charge like an appearance fee because he's an actor, goes through a manager and everything. I mean, he's a great guy, but he's I've been in contact with him for a couple of years, and he knows a friend of mine who does a podcast down in Philly. So we're going to kind of do a show in a few weeks. So he's kind of, he's not really worried about the fee. But you will come across some guests that actually ask.
We've only had one
for that.
Recently, and the crazy part is, should we out him? Should we name him?
No. But
let's not out him.
Let's just say whatever he does,
The guy that we had on the week before does it
at the highest level.
At the highest level.
You know what I mean? So I'm not paying you for
Yeah. So I mean, obviously, I don't want you guys to obviously name drop anyone, but it was a big time guest that wanted a fee.
No, he wasn't. He wasn't even a big time guest. That's the thing too.
He's like a specialty guy. He's good at one thing on the internet. He has a big following because he does this one thing.
I don't want to knock the guy. I mean, he's trying to probably make a living too.
Sure.
So,
the guy we had on the week before that literally did it on an Olympic level and is the best at it ever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I guess it just comes who you come across, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Some people are like cool about it, like, it's at the end of the day for some people, I mean, a lot of people it's a business.
Yeah.
You know how they make their money, how they make their living. But some people I've came across are like cool about it, and some people it's been rare for me to ever have someone say like, "Oh, well, I'll only come on if I can get a fee."
Like I've never, I've done millions of podcasts. I've never even was it crossed my mind to be like, "Yo, let me get some money." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, granted, if I'm flying out somewhere, pay for my flight, something like that. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But as far as money, like I'm getting, I'm going on your, pod. Like I want a fighter and a kid.
Right.
Like, I didn't ask them for money. I mean, that's great publicity for me.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I just thought of. I'm thinking of Francis again. He was a school teacher in Philly too. He's got some hysterical. You gotta have him.
Really?
He's a school teacher in Philly for.
No, he was a sub, I think.
Yeah, he's had 75 jobs, but he's got some hysterical stories about being a teacher in Philly.
Yeah,
I'll definitely have to check him out.
What college you go to?
So I went to DeSales University in PA for 1 year, and then I came back home and went to Stockton.
Okay.
In South Jersey.
Yeah.
And when it was funny, when I played basketball for Stockton, I was always up this way. Like we played college in New Jersey, we played Keene University, we played Ramapo up north.
Yeah.
So I was always up this way a lot in my college years. That's why like driving up here, I'm like, I remember coming through here. Like I mean, I went to this area as a kid.
Yeah,
but I
Seaside, whatnot.
Absolutely, but just coming up back to this area kind of brought back memories.
Yeah.
We were up on the Parkway. If we had an away game, we were going up on the Parkway, up north. Unless we were going to Rowan or something, which was towards Philly or like Glassboro area, that kind of thing.
It's funny because if you live in Jersey, you refer to certain things like nobody really says
miles.
Like what town they're from. They say what exit they are.
Yeah,
nobody says miles either.
Right.
Like you PA, I'm 30 miles away.
Yeah.
Well, how is that in minutes? I'm 20 minutes away. We say minutes where we're from. We're 20 minutes.
20 minutes. Well, let me ask you guys a question. Since you're Jersey guys, I'm a Jersey guy, right? They always have that debate. I don't know if you want to call it a debate. Is there a central Jersey? Is there only a north and a south Jersey?
See, what
do you guys think?
I think so. And fucking Tom's River ain't it.
Okay, so where does it start?
No, neither.
Okay.
Neither. Right? There's North Jersey, there's South Jersey, there's Central Jersey, which is like probably Old Bridge and like
Manalapan,
Spotswood, Manalapan.
Okay.
And then there's the shore. The shore is its own spot. The shore is pretty much Seabright, could go all the way down to probably Manahawkin, maybe Little Egg Harbor. And then everything else is South Jersey. Makes sense? That makes sense.
The other debate that I never got that people always have is pork roll, egg, and cheese or tail or ham and cheese. It's clearly pork roll, egg and cheese because that is all encompassing of everything. Taylor ham is just a brand.
That'd be like saying
I mean,
Q-tip.
Yeah.
Let me get a Q-tip. Well, you don't say that. You do say that. You don't say, let me get a cotton swab.
I do say Q-tip.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. It's true, though.
Yeah.
You're right. Yep.
Cotton swab. That's exactly what it's called, right?
Yeah.
The Q-tip is the brand.
Q-tip is the brand.
I didn't really think about that. Yeah, I call it pork, egg, and cheese too.
Yeah,
I mean,
pork roll, yeah.
I've heard the Taylor ham thing.
Yeah.
People that believe that will take that to their grave, but to me, it doesn't make sense. That's a brand
Well,
of pork roll.
how about that? Nowhere else knows this.
Yeah.
It's a Jersey, maybe Philly probably gets it. Probably New York City, Delaware might get a little bit, but I went out to Western PA. I'm like, hey, I got a pork roll, egg and cheese.
I had no idea what you were talking about.
I'm like, Taylor ham, egg and cheese. Like what? I'm like, it's like a breakfast meat. Kind of looks like. It's
really a
I don't know
Jersey
what the hell
thing.
you're talking about? It's only Jersey.
Yeah.
What's the other one? I just actually did this with my producer, so we sometimes we just at my studio we kind of go over different like brands and stuff like that, and we make like little like clips about like different debates, like growing up as a kid in the 80s and 90s as opposed to growing up a kid today. One of the things we talked about, this was a few weeks ago, we did the sauce gravy debate for all the Italians.
It's North is always gravy if you're North. You don't think
Sauce.
so?
We're sauce.
Yeah, North Jersey is
North
always
Jersey.
gravy.
I think it's like more Italian thing.
Also, pot cheese. They call a certain type of pasta pot cheese up there. I forget which one it is.
Pot
but-
cheese?
Yeah, pot cheese.
I haven't heard of that.
If you go to the
Gravy
Belmont Tavern, pot cheese.
has meat in it.
Yeah.
Sauce doesn't.
Yep.
You
Yeah,
understand?
that makes sense. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's it. That's how I settled my debate.
Yeah.
If you got gravy, if it's gravy, if you got meat in there.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, if it's just a marinara sauce, that's it.
Yeah. Yep.
It's just sauce.
Done. It's settled.
Yeah.
Only in
Here,
Jersey.
how about this debate?
Only in Jersey.
Here about this debate.
Oh God, here we go.
How about this debate? Would you rather be the first guy to fight the gorilla or the last guy in line for Bonnie Blue?
Damn.
Give me that gorilla, bro. Give me that fucking gorilla.
Yeah, but you're gonna definitely die with Bonnie Blue. You just end up with some
You
STDs.
might, yeah. Well,
You're gonna live. You're definitely dead. With
You're gonna
the
die
gorilla.
from shame. Okay, from shame. That's crazy. That's the craziest.
And she's
thing in
so
the world.
proud of it, bro.
There's two of them. There's two of them.
She
doing
is
this,
so
right?
proud of it.
There's
So
another
proud.
one.
She's like, oh, I have the best relationship with my parents. How? What father would be like, that's my little girl? You know what I mean? It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah,
It's absolutely insane.
so much crazy stuff in today's world.
Yeah, it's like shock value or something. Like you're trying to like, yo, come on, what? I don't understand.
How about the chicks like sign up like making OnlyFans and all that crap? What do you? It's not.
Well, it's not even the OnlyFans because that's like, I guess, normal porn. You know what I mean? What guys will pay for is vile.
That's it's crazy. That's what I mean.
Like dirty underwear or like fucking boxing,
Fart in a jar.
boxing up your fart in a jar.
Oh
Dudes pay for that stuff. Dudes pay for that stuff. Yeah,
that's insane.
it's crazy.
Like, yeah, you're right. What guy? And these girls become rich.
Yeah,
They do. Yeah.
Send me a picture of your feet. Okay, here's $1,000. Like crazy.
we've had
It's insane.
we've had a couple UFC, well, at least one UFC
Yeah.
fighter on that said she stopped posting pictures with her feet in it because guys will zoom in, blow them up.
Yeah.
So she said, I post them now
Really?
on there's a website called WikiFeet. You can post your feet on there, and dudes can buy pictures of your feet.
That's crazy, dude.
Men are weird, bro. Men are weirdos. I mean, girls are pretty bad because they're the ones doing it. But you know, there wasn't a something like that available. Men wouldn't be paying for it. They're making it available. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Who?
women are making it available
Yeah,
for
but men buying it is what makes it available.
Well,
The demand. The demand makes it happen.
The fact that the women
If
know.
no one was buying it, they wouldn't be making it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's true. That is true.
Men are pigs, dude.
Yeah, for
Can't
sure.
help it.
The fact they know they can make money off it, that's why they do it.
Yeah,
Right.
Like you said, Frankie, the men will want to buy it.
What that do? Was that bad? Was that Bad Baby?
Bad bunny
Catch
or
me
bad
outside.
baby? Yeah,
Catch
Bad
me
Baby,
outside.
yeah,
Bad Baby. She made was like $1 million
When
the day she turned 18.
18, the day she turned 18, she made over $1 million with her OnlyFans. That's crazy.
That's
But I think the morality of our country and our world, I wouldn't say world. There are some Middle Eastern countries where you can only show like part of your face, right? So it's very
Your
strict
ankle.
over there.
Damn, look at the ankle on that girl, bro.
You know, in Florida they outlawed like Pornhub. There's no porn in Florida.
Like none.
None. You cannot log. You try to log on to like Pornhub, you can't get on it.
What about some other channel?
I don't know. It's not like I was down there trying, but I'm just saying that's what I was told. That's what I was told.
I'm sure there's a backdoor way to get to it, buddy. Oh man, that's crazy though. Like how?
Yeah.
Why Florida? Florida's like a fucking cesspool
I don't know,
of
but
shit.
I don't
They probably
nec-
film half the pornos in Florida.
I mean, I don't necessarily think it's a horrible idea because I think porn's a problem, but I just wouldn't think Florida. You know?
Yeah.
You would think like Utah. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, you would think everything kind of goes down in Florida.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird they would outlaw it.
Yeah.
You know?
Florida man. They say if you just put your birthday and Florida man in, and something will crazy will go up.
Oh, really?
Seriously, I did mine. It said Florida man kills himself over imaginary girlfriend. I'm like, bro, even the fake ones get you to go crazy.
Something I put in my notes I wanted to ask you about because we got a friend from that area. It's kind of a legendary area in Philly for people that are addicted to drugs. Kensington. You know anything about it? You're from that? You know? Have you been through that area at all?
Yeah, so
It's like walking zombies, right? Basically.
Yeah, it's pretty bad, and so I've you know it's funny. I actually used to date a girl like a couple of years back who actually lived on the border of a town called Fishtown, which is part of Philly, and then Kensington, which is like right next to it. The area where she was actually it was kind of okay, but if you went like 6 blocks north, you were on that Kensington
Where they're doing the dope fiend lean.
Yeah,
right?
like right under the L. Like it's called the L. The L train that runs through Philly, and I mean, I think they're trying to like revitalize it and trying to clean that area up. But yeah, Kensington's a very bad part of.
I've seen a couple documentaries on it, and it's just it's crazy that A, that's allowed, and B, that people can be that down on their luck, and
Bro, I seen one. I think it was Kensington, and there was like a chick that was like kind of cute looking, like a woman, like a mom. She looked like a mom. You could tell she must be brand new because she had nice clothes on, nice shoes, nice this, fake and literally doing that lean. I'm like, dude, that's crazy.
Yeah.
You're somebody's mom probably.
Isn't
you know?
Eddie Alvarez from Kensington?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
Kenzo.
A crazy
Everyone's talking about your Henzo black belt.
Yeah, Kenzo.
He's like, I'm a Kenzo black belt.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah, where I work now is northeast Philadelphia. It's not as bad. It's kind of like it's an okay neighborhood. It's not great, but it's not beautiful. So Kensington's probably like about 15 minutes north, 20 minutes north.
Oh, that close. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I could be wrong. Could be a little further north.
It's a legendary spot. I mean, everybody in America has heard of Kensington because it's so notorious with drug fiends. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I think it's like they say that it's like the biggest open air drug market in the country. Yeah. You know, you have your drug problems in other cities too, like San Francisco, Sacramento. It's all over. But when they talk about Kensington, it's
like how
crazy.
they allow it? Like how would you even address it? You know, how could you address it?
Got to be a lot of corruption in that city because they're not addressing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but like how would you even go about? Like, I mean, you gotta that's more mental health than anything.
Well,
right?
Yeah.
I see a place where they say they made it legal to get heroin, right? But in order to get heroin, you get like clean, and it's clean because you're getting it from, and they're administering it for you and all this. I think it's just a different country though, so they allowed it to for this to happen. But in order for you to get your dose that morning, you have to sit there and talk to someone for 20 minutes, just to talk about your life and. That they say nobody stayed in the program forever because everybody eventually got clean.
Well, I mean, Rudy Giuliani during his run as mayor of New York City cleaned up New York pretty good. Got rid of a lot of the homeless. Got rid of a lot of the drug problem.
Bloomberg did pretty good too, right?
I'm not sure about Bloomberg.
Yeah,
did
he kept it. He kept it good at least. Because there's the other guy, De Blasio. Jeez.
Yeah.
And then even this guy.
He's the cheeseburger guy.
Yeah.
These delicious French fries, and all you got to do is get a shot.
Yeah.
Just get a shot, and you can eat these delicious French fries too.
That's crazy. I remember watching that press conference.
Oh my God, it was the
when he said that.
cringiest thing.
Crazy.
I've never been so cringe ever in my life as watching that.
And like he was actually like eating it too.
Oh yeah,
He's like looking at the fries.
Delicious.
Like,
delicious.
like, how do you put yourself
Oh
out
my
there like
God,
that? Is
I've
that
never
ridiculous?
cringed.
Like, how
that
did
hard
someone
ever.
not say, "Yo, what is up?
What
This
are you
is
doing?"
crazy."
Yeah. Remember Krispy Kreme was giving away
Donuts.
Donuts.
Yeah.
If you showed your Vax card.
Oh my
Crazy.
God.
Yeah.
That was a crazy wild time.
That was, man.
Holy shit.
Hopefully, we'll never go through a
Yeah.
time like that again. I pray. I think the people, I always said we're kind of on the same page. The people that weren't going to be convinced are never going to be convinced, no matter what you do. You know what I mean? So they got everybody they were going to get. They had to open the world back up because nobody else was given. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, and that's a great point too. Like the give and take. Like you weren't you had people out there that just were not going to buy into that.
Didn't matter what.
You have people that they scared, they controlled, they kind of and again, not to get into politics, but like they had people where they were fully convinced, don't leave your house, you can never leave, you got to stay, and then you had people that were just like, nah, I'm out. Yeah. I'm living my life, man.
I was one of those. I was like, 2 weeks. I'm like, after the 2 weeks, I was like, hell to the no.
Yep, exactly. Same way.
But I had some buddies that wouldn't come over for like a month,
Really?
a month, and they were going. I'm like, you pussy,
dude. I don't know if you remember. Do you remember a couple of our guests that we had during that period? Showed up like double masked.
I know,
like,
dude.
I'm like, how's this guy going to talk on the mic?
Yeah.
And they would come down and take the mask off. I'm like, doesn't that
defeat the purpose?
Defeat the whole purpose of having that thing on?
Now, how was that for you guys? So you actually filmed still?
Oh yeah.
You went straight through?
Yeah. We let our guests know, be comfortable with whatever you want to do, but this is our stance and this is where we're at. If you're not comfortable with that, we could reschedule you.
I think we did one week. We said because my wife was a little like we didn't know at first.
Yeah,
no one's like, let's just keep it. So like 1 week, I think we stopped, and then we're like, I was like, we're good, buddy.
Yeah, exactly. Full steam ahead.
I was training with everybody. I was like, I don't give. I'm sweating in people's face. You know what I mean? I'm not worried no more.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Crazy time.
Yeah, let's pray that it never comes back. Obviously,
it wouldn't.
I didn't feel bad for adults.
The fake disease doesn't come back because
Well,
it was bullshit, bro. I will stand on that.
Yeah.
If no one tested for COVID, no one would even know about it.
Well, the flu went away.
Right? Yeah, the flu went away. Yeah, the flu went away.
We're adults, right? You can stand up. You can fight back a little bit. You can resist. You can do all those things. We're adults. I felt horrible for the children. My kids had to wear masks in school. They couldn't go outside. Well, they could go outside, but still have to be masked outside. It made no sense. It was, and the eating outside to eat inside was the stupidest thing I've ever heard of in my life. You couldn't go in the restaurant, but they could put a tent outside on the
the sidewalk.
And you could go eat. It made no sense.
Yeah.
And then you had to sit down to eat, but then you could stand up and go to the bathroom. It made no sense. None of it made any sense. You had to wear a mask when you were sitting down, but if you stood up, none of it made any sense. It was crazy.
It was like the craziest rules, and people were like, well, what is this? Like,
made no sense. I mean,
they did social distancing and the 6 feet, and like,
but it's crazy how much people followed along. Like we are easily.
Well, as people, generally, we are followers. Most of us, right? Most of us
easily
want
persuaded,
to be,
easily fooled.
Yep.
You guys know who Kyle Snyder is?
I know. I've heard of Kyle.
No, Kyle Snyder. He was a 2-time national champ, maybe 3-time national champ. Won Olympics at 21. One of the youngest guys to win Olympics. He beat Shadolev, who's like one of the best Russian guys. Like he's the guy. He's the man. Captain America, they call him. Mm-hmm. Kind of a religious guy too. He was at Ohio State. Now he's at Penn State. Penn State a lot of those coaches are very religious, so he's on staff there, and known to like quote the scripture and has a family, this and that. Just got popped in a prostitution ring.
No way.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Really?
And it's I don't knock anybody when they're down.
Right.
It's just he's Captain America, dude. Like the wholesome, clean cut guy, and gets caught supposedly like they did like a like undercover sting operation, and he asked the undercover cop. He gave her money and asked for oral sex.
Oh, I thought so. Okay, which is bad, right? I thought you meant he was like running one. I was like, that's even worse. Yeah. Okay, I got it.
And bro, there's video that just came out today where he's got no drawers on. He's getting handcuffed. Dude, fuck.
Jeez.
Oh, man.
That's crazy.
And like, bro, he's the world team member. He's the guy. He's supposed to compete June 14th to wrestle for the world team spot. So I wonder what's going to go down.
Speaking of that, again, I grew up in Maine, so we didn't have any of this stuff that he does, wrestling, and we didn't have football.
Nothing manly.
We didn't have anything manly. Right, exactly. And I smack my lips when I drink. But anyway, yeah, see? B team guy. What's his name? He got
J-Rod.
What? But they keep
Dickie
saying
Rod's brother.
They keep saying he got caught gooning. What the hell is something to do with the girls on the team? What is gooning? What's the meaning of gooning?
Oh, I don't know.
He got caught gooning. Every article you read was he got caught gooning.
Can we get a clarification on gooning, Andrew?
I did look it up.
No, I just heard what this is what I heard he did before he said gooning. All right, this is what I heard he did. Before you go, Roger. Before you go. Okay. This fucking guy. Okay. He, I guess, had pictures. This is what I heard. I don't know if it's true. He had pictures of people that trained at his school, right? like women,
I heard
and
that too.
he put them in like an AI thing and turned them into porn with their pictures on them. But it's not like he was sharing it with anybody. It was just, I don't know, maybe for him and his buddies or something, but not like he was sharing it to the public. So I don't know what
When I
the whole
looked
bad
up
thing.
gooning, this is what I saw too, but it didn't make sense for him.
What?
It doesn't make any sense. Gooning is primarily refers to a sexual practice where an individual repeatedly comes close to orgasm without reaching a climax. A technique is also known as edging. It involves maintaining a high level of arousal without reaching orgasm. This can be done
So was he
alone
gooning while he's, like,
or with a
rolling
partner.
with someone?
I don't know if this is. It must be another definition for gooning. You think that's what he was doing? That doesn't really make a lot of sense because that'd be criminal. All they did was boot him from the team, right?
Yeah, yeah.
He's not facing any criminal charges, as far as I know. You know?
No. Like I said, I think he didn't do anything like illegal. He just did something that's been not so looked at so well. And I think he probably. I mean, what I'm thinking is he probably had relations with these women that he's probably talking about, and that's why they probably got a little salty.
Yeah.
I have no idea, to be honest with you.
I don't either, but yeah. They kept saying every article
But
I read
I seen a meme.
was he's gooning. I'm like, what the hell is
a meme
that?
where it's like some kids like, yeah, I had one like this and another one like this, and I'm like, dude. Cause I seen Nicky Rod posted a picture of him and his brother, so I guess showing him support.
Yeah. That's a talented family right there, man.
Wow.
Talented family.
What about that whole? What do you guys think of that whole that P Diddy scandal that came out?
Oh man, well it's
That's
today, right?
No, yesterday was the first
when was
day.
it?
The first day of the trial, and they say,
Yeah.
what's the girlfriend's name?
Cassie.
They
right?
say that
Cassie?
she really is the one pushing this forward, and they said the stuff she was saying just on day one is so heinous and so hideous. Like, I guess I don't even know what I can say. I guess you can say whatever, but people would pee in her mouth and stuff. It was crazy, bro.
Golden shower.
Crazy.
Jeez.
I don't know if that's in your mouth. I think that's like on your head, but yeah.
They had like
Well, but why was she allowing it?
I don't know. Shit.
Or you think she's a woman scoring them too?
Coerced.
Of course.
Like,
Like, you don't do
Harvey
it,
Weinstein, these women did the
Did you hear about
act,
Harvey
they were-
Weinstein now? What's coming out?
Well, no. What's her
Did you
name?
hear about this?
What's her name is saying that he, Candace Owens is kind of like.
saying
Yeah.
he didn't do all the shit they're saying he did.
Yeah.
Because the woman said, yeah, he wanted me to suck. He told me to suck his balls. Guess
Oh,
what?
yeah, he has no
doesn't
balls.
have balls.
That's right.
They're like
No,
implanted in his
got
leg.
gangrene and they removed him.
No,
or
but they're like
something like that.
implant. Yeah, but they put his testicles in his
Jesus.
leg.
Yeah.
Supposedly
That's wild.
he has like gangrene to the dick. No,
Yeah, that's crazy.
like
is
it's like a
insane.
deformed dick, bro. That's disgusting. And he probably made these bitches, Ugh.
But
oh god.
you came in here wanting to talk about pork roll, egg, and cheese and shit. Here we are talking about gangrene of the nuts now. You came
But
to
I'm
the
saying
wrong
though,
podcast.
you can't. And now they do. It's coming out that Michael Jackson might not have been this perfect.
I saw that too.
You know what I mean? Like,
saw
dude,
that
what?
too. Yep. They make you
So much
out,
crazy.
yeah.
if you piss off the wrong people, they make you into a monster.
They
You know
don't
what I mean?
care about us.
They don't care
Yeah.
about us.
You know what that song?
You know what? Yeah, you know that they had to cut it out for the radio version. You don't know? All right, Frankie, you say it.
Nope.
We'll be dead tomorrow. Oh shit! That's fucking crazy.
It's just crazy how like all this stuff comes out, years later, and everyone's like, oh well, now this happened 20 years ago, 15 years.
Right.
I mean, you wonder if there's motivation behind it, if somebody's getting paid off or somebody's.
Oh
getting,
yeah, that
you know what I mean?
definitely. Oh, it's
Like
gotta
this shit's
be.
always crazy.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
a fall guy for something. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
We probably
Well, that's
we
right. That's
probably
why I-
aren't getting the Epstein list because they're focusing on P Diddy. You know what I mean?
Right.
Dude,
That's
it's
the other
all.
thing, the
It's,
Jeffrey
listen,
Epstein
nobody gets held accountable
Nobody.
just like that. This and dude, I'm gonna say we think the people that are gonna expose everything are in place and they're gonna expose everybody and nothing happens.
This is why.
So
it's
what does
hard.
that mean?
This is why it's hard to stay away from politics because
I know. It always reverts back to it at some point.
Yeah.
It's true. It really is.
But that's why like Diddy's the fall guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the reason he's getting caught is so other people don't get caught. Because
Yeah.
there's other people that are probably much more important than
Well,
Diddy.
it puts all your focus on this story. Everybody's like, this guy was, for what, 30, 40 years was at the height of his career. And everybody knows who he is. And if you're focused on that.
Take that.
Oh man.
Oh, shit. Yeah, we went a little left there. A little left.
We live in a wild world.
We do. You are you any? We've got a really good friend of the show, a good personal friend of ours that we have on all the time because He is such a conspiracy theorist. He's got, you know.
Oh, he believes in every conspiracy theory.
Yeah, he's a great human being. He wants the best for everybody.
Right.
And honestly, all his conspiracies, the end of them are all, it's the Great Awakening. It's going to be the new world order. It's going to be great. It's like all good stuff. So I'm like, all right, I'll let you talk about it. At least
we're going into the fifth dimension, and you know, currency.
Four dimension.
Oh, I thought it was fifth dimension.
No, 3D. It's 4D. Right?
I thought it was 5D,
Fifth?
but I could be wrong.
We're fucking
But anyway,
levels.
he thinks we don't need currency anymore. Money is obsolete, and you know,
Wow.
you know, very, very much believes in a lot of things. A lot of things. What's the reverberation of the earth? What's that called? The
What?
The vibration of the earth. You know what I mean? Like grounding yourself.
Grounding yourself.
No, but it's got a name. It's got a name. Something resonance. Anyway,
Is that like the Earth really isn't? The Earth is flat theory or something?
Well,
like that?
he
Yeah.
might be possible. He's
I don't know if
he's
he's a
borderline.
flat
He's
earther.
bored. Listen, you let him talk enough.
Yeah,
He'll
yeah,
start getting
yeah.
flat Earth. You know? I don't know. The whole thing with flat Earth.
Yeah.
I just like. I could see the moon. I could see the sun. You can even see Mars and sometimes Jupiter and other planets. And to me, from the naked eye or from a telescope, they're all round.
Yeah.
Why would we be any different? You know what I'm saying? Everything in the sky has a round shape. There's nothing that's just like a flat disc in the sky. I could see us being like more like a pear. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? No, like a pear. Maybe we're not perfectly round, like a pear. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe.
Or like a raindrop. I could
Right.
see us being like a raindrop. Maybe like a peak and we come like round to the end. I could see that.
Yeah. I mean, he also thinks that we have the dome over Earth. What's the biblical term? What am I drawing a blank here? What's it called?
Firmament.
Firmament. The firmament over the Earth. Thinks that, you know, in the Admiral Byrd discovered, you know, there's like a whole land underground in Antarctica.
Yeah.
And,
Wow.
you know, so
But I seen some flat earther that went up to Antarctica
yes,
and was like, "Holy shit!
I don't believe that
I've been
it's flat
wrong.
anymore.
I've been wrong this
Really?
whole time. I'm not flat. It's like the world's round."
Yeah. I mean, who knows? I don't know. I'm not convinced the Earth is flat at all, but I feel fairly confident in my belief that we never landed on the moon. I will say that.
Yeah, that one's definitely probably the most unbelievable one.
What, that we've actually been to the moon?
Yeah.
You know,
I don't think so.
No.
I mean, so we did it in 1969, right?
Right.
And then
Seven times.
They're saying in
what was his name?
72.
The Armstrong guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody does that.
Buzz,
he
Buzz
wrote.
Aldrin.
He did a couple laps around on his bicycle.
Yeah, planted the flag.
Yeah. But anyway, 72. Supposedly we went back.
Right.
Okay, so why have we not been back? We have more technology.
They say we
I
lost.
agree, yeah.
We lost
In a
the
phone.
technology to go up there.
right now than we did.
That's what they say.
Than
We
all
lost
of
the technology
NASA
to go up
had
there.
back then.
How can that be possible?
Because they're
not.
bullshitting.
It's not possible.
That something's up with that.
It's not
They
possible.
said
That's
Van
a weird-
Ryan or something, Van something belt or something. They say is the radiation. We have not even been into outer space. We've been into
No, Katy Perry was just there last week.
no. Yeah, we've been into like the stratosphere or the toposphere.
Right.
We've never really even been into outer space.
Yeah.
Like
That's crazy.
since those days.
I know.
You
It's
know.
insane.
So why do you think? I mean, well,
I
this could be tons of speculation,
especially back then. I mean, the
Yeah.
space race with Russia.
Yeah.
That could have just been it. You know?
It was a power move.
Did you ever see
Yeah.
the video
Had to win that
of
thing.
India going to?
Yeah.
Dude, it's the craziest video.
Is that real? That
It's
can't be
yes,
real.
but
Can't
that's
be
exactly
real.
like the
That's
video
crazy.
of ours.
It looks like your kid drew. My
Yo,
kid drew it. and
Nixon called the moon.
Yeah.
Nixon talked to them on the fucking moon.
There's no way.
Get the fuck out of here, bro.
No way.
That did not happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is our podcast right here. We're
listen.
going back to our pack. We're very animated.
These are the best. These are the best podcasts.
Frankie
though.
usually
This kind of
yells at
shit's
me.
The best.
Yeah.
But that's crazy. This whole thing with the NASA's. I mean, I don't know. It's like you feel like they got like some deep rooted shit that no one knows about.
Hell yeah.
You know what I mean? Like what can they do? What can they
I
do?
feel like
What are they
there's-
telling us?
There's
Right?
so many things that you're never going to get, and they can't. They can't.
Right.
They invested so much in that. You're never going to get definitive proof
No.
that it didn't happen. You know what I mean?
Right.
So JFK assassination. I don't know if even though they said the files are getting released, I don't know any more now
Did
than
you-
I knew
you just
then.
saw that recently, right?
You know any more now, Frankie, than
No.
you knew before they released it?
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Like
You know what I mean?
someone was there and filmed it, right? Like they found it in recently.
Zabruder film. Zabuter film.
Zabuter
isn't it?
film, right?
Yeah, Zabuter. Yeah. But it's not like where they expose the guy. They say The driver turned around and shot him.
I don't know.
You hear that?
Yeah, there's so much shit.
The driver shot
The
JFK?
That's what people are trying to say. The driver turned around and shot him.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be on this film?
Yeah.
The guy turned around and go, poop.
Yeah. Well, they say like they edit it to make it not happen.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, crazy.
Yeah.
That's
It definitely wasn't. It definitely wasn't John. What was it?
John Wilkes. No, John Wilkes Booth was.
That was Lincoln.
Oswald.
Lincoln.
That was Abraham Lincoln.
Oswald.
Right?
Lee Harvey.
I know, Lee Harvey
Yeah.
Oswald, right.
3 names. You know.
Yeah.
But they constantly say, these people that they arrest, they fry their brain with that. What was that back in the 70s?
MK Ultra.
MK Ultra shit.
yeah.
And then they're just like walking.
You know who it is?
They're walking zombies.
Jolly West. Jolly West was the guy that went in and seen. Who's the guy that killed John Wilkes Booth? Not John Wilkes Booth. Lee Harvey Oswald. Ruby.
Jack Ruby.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's still alive, and he's still not. He's like. Is he?
Scatterbrain.
No, but he went like nuts though.
Well, Candace Owens believes that they did that to Kanye. She believes they did the same thing to Britney Spears. I don't know why. Kanye's very outspoken, so I can see frying his brain, so he can't say a lot of
I think
things.
fries. I mean, he's been pretty
The
fucking
MK
fried.
the
Dude.
Chem-
That guy's been pretty fried for a
Kanye.
long time.
The MK Ultra stuff. I mean, yeah, he's worse
Well,
than Anthony.
Charles Manson was part of that.
Right.
Ted Kaczynski was part of MK Ultra. All those guys.
Yep.
It's crazy,
Yeah.
dude. The CIA is like what they've been doing, what they're probably doing right now is nuts.
I'm going to be down after you just said that. I'm going to be down here next week. You're just going to be drooling into the mic.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, friend of the show. I don't want to say, but BJ. I mean, what happened to BJ? You know,
I don't know, man.
I don't know what happened to him. I'm
I don't
concerned. He is a friend of the show. Love the guy, but I hope that I'm not sure what happened. You know, but I hope he gets answers, and I hope he's okay. You know what I mean?
Let's just be devil's advocate.
Yep.
Could he be right?
You fucker, you're doing
I'm being
it
dead
again.
serious, bro.
You're doing
no,
it again.
I'm like, bro, could he? Could he?
You really believe his
No,
mom is
I'm not saying it, but could he?
Sure.
I mean, at first,
listen,
if it was just, the reason I'm like, he's saying everyone. If it was just his mom, I'd be like, dude, that guy, no, he knows his mom better than anybody. How can it not
says
be
his
his mom?
brother
But
too.
he's saying both brothers. Now.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, BJ Penn thinks like someone stole his whole family.
Yeah.
And
Really?
put imposters in his place.
Well, keep in mind though,
Whoa.
he did run for politics.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, this thought process is it's always like the CIA or something. It's always someone politically that is connected.
Some
I don't
way.
know why they would be doing it to Britney Spears, but Kanye said some crazy shit, so I could see maybe it happening to him. What is Britney just dances these days? What is she doing? Why'd they fry her brain?
no, well, I think I don't know. Whoever, what was it called? She was in like a.
Disney, Mickey Mouse Club.
Well, no, but she was in a not courtship, but like where she wasn't controlling her
yeah,
life. Her
yeah,
dad
yeah,
was
yeah.
for the longest time.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, I don't know. How could someone like she's a multimillionaire? Like, why is someone controlling her shit?
I don't know. I think when you at a very young age get to be that famous. What's the other girl? What's the girl that
Christina Aguilera.
her eyebrows are always purple now? She was another Mickey
Amanda
Mouse.
Bynes.
Amanda Bynes. That's another one that literally is you see her talk and there's no emotion on her face at all. No matter what she's talking about.
Well, listen,
it's
no,
zero emotion.
It could be.
expressionless.
It could be like definitely like the industry screwed them over, and they got introduced to drugs at an early age, or they were abused at an early age, or I mean, dude, people go crazy in their 20s.
Exactly,
You know what I mean?
which
People
very well
definitely
could
do go
be
crazy
because
in
I
their
can't
20s.
see them
Yeah.
withholding secrets that they have to scramble their brain so they can't release these amazing secrets. People like Lee Harvey Oswald, people like that. Yeah, I can see that. There's a reason he was a fall guy. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
Crazy times. For
Crazy.
Yeah. So
All right, I
much
think
stuff.
we've scared Blake right out of here.
Yeah,
so
Why you got, I've been having a
we
great
got
time.
real quiet lately.
This is awesome.
You guys are fucking nuts.
All right, brother. I think we can wrap on that, man. Such a pleasure to have you in. Why don't you give a shout out to you? Got to sign the board before you leave, but why don't you give a shout out to your podcast and anything else?
Yeah,
you're
we'll have to fucking make a trip out there too.
plugging, promoting, whatever. Yeah, we'd love to come on. So give a shout out where people can find you, your social media.
Well, absolutely. I want to thank you guys for having me. It was
course.
an honor. We'll definitely have to do something like this again. And
Yeah,
for sure.
Stay in touch for sure. This is awesome.
Yep.
So my Instagram is The Big Man Show Live on Instagram at The Big Man Show. And my YouTube channel is The Big Man's Report Live Podcast. Blake Rossell on Facebook. And I'm actually just going to get on Spotify and now Apple Music. What is Apple Music? So I'm trying to get on there. We're working to get on there slowly, but
Cool.
surely.
Okay,
you go.
very good, man.
But thank you again for having
Appreciate
me.
you.
man.
Appreciate
Thanks
it.
for coming.
It's a good
always,
time.
always make room for Jersey guys here. So
yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Thank you,
All
guys.
right, got it, brother.
Share, like, and subscribe, people.
What's up, guys? Make sure you follow us on your favorite podcast platforms. You can find the links in the description below. And if you've enjoyed this episode, hit that like button and share it with a friend. Your support keeps us growing.